Hey, I'm Scotty T from Your Comedy Minute. I'm here with Jimmy Marks. Jimmy, how are you? Nice to have you here.
Doing great, man. How are you doing? It's good to
I'm
meet you.
doing great. Thanks for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you having me.
I got a message. You said that you're from Pennsylvania.
I am.
Are you still in Pennsylvania?
I am. I live up in Delco, so around Upper Chichester. I don't know if you sound like you're from Pennsylvania. Are you
I'm from
from York or
York,
York?
Pennsylvania.
I was just there last night.
Really?
Yeah, playing a show. So I do another thing besides the stand up. I also play music.
Okay.
So my I have a punk rock band called
Wow.
Battalion Zoska.
What are they called
And
again? Say it again. I'm sorry, I talked over it. What's the name of your
no
band?
problem. Battalion Zoska, Zoska. Punk rock band from Philly. And we got some stuff on YouTube and whatnot. But we played a
Okay.
show up there in York at this place called Skid Row Garage. Nice little venue up there.
What do you do in the band, if you don't mind me asking?
I I play the bass. I'm a bass
Okay.
player.
Yeah. Okay. And how
Yeah.
many guys are in the band?
There are five of us, myself included. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're just punk rock, very fast, very hardcore. Uh, Singer used to sing in some other rock bands. It's
Okay.
basically we're 50 years old and need something to do on the weekends occasionally. So
Okay.
we go play shows. We played all over the place though too. Toured.
I used to work in the music business. I don't know if you know
Did you?
that or not. Yeah, I mean, I've been with, you know,
I heard your I heard your Joe Cocker story. Uh he shat his pants
yeah,
on
yeah, he
stage.
did.
That's as you get older, I mean, well, so cocaine induced shitting because you were saying, I think I heard you say something like where they cut it with baby
They
laxative,
cut it
and
with baby
unfortunately,
laxative. Yeah.
that's what they do with all the cocaine, and well, now it's fentanyl too, but whatever, you know.
oh my
Well, they
God,
do.
Jimmy.
It's a
My
speedball now. I
God,
mean,
Jimmy.
everything's cut up with fentanyl these days,
Yeah.
but
I wouldn't know anything
makes it more
about that.
fun. It makes it more fun,
It
you know.
makes it more fun.
I
I like
mean,
the
why
joke.
else would you cut something with baby laxative? Either to just watch your friend shat their pants on stage in white pants. I mean, could you imagine the guy? I'm just coming up with this now, but could you imagine being the guy that sold the cocaine to Joe Cocker that night, cutting it up with the baby laxative? Not,
No, he bought
that's
it that way.
yeah, he'd say that's how I buy it,
It was
and
the
it's not a prank.
A
It's
and M
just what you
promo
do.
rep.
I don't even know
Um,
why they do that. Anyway, sorry, I'm
well,
getting off topic talking
no,
about
no,
shit in
it's
your
fine.
pants.
It's fine. I like the joke I did recently about whoever says everything happens for a reason has
Mhm.
never shit their pants. Which I think it was which again, I really like that. It didn't do well, but I just thought it was pretty accurate.
I'll tell you what, regarding shitting your pants.
Yeah, let's
As
spend
I,
a little.
yeah, let's spend a little time on shitting your pants. Well, as I get older,
Yeah.
as I get older, I'm 43 now. And as
Okay.
I get older, I notice that whenever I cough,
Yeah.
a little looser down at the other end there, and I might, I'm just worried, I'll fart, but I'm worried for that inevitable day when the
Well,
fart turns into a shart and the shart turns into a shit.
when
And
I posted that, Jimmy, someone wrote, "Well, how does that happen?" I'm like, you trust a fart and it goes south on you. I mean, it's not, or like you said,
I mean,
the
it
other
always
part
goes
is that you
south, but
just, for me these days, I'm 61. Good coughing fit, and I got myself
well,
a mess.
I'm a smoker, which makes it worse,
Oh yeah, me too.
So I'm just waiting for that inevitable day where I'm on
Yeah.
stage and I just shit my pants,
Oh no.
turn it into a Gigi
Let's not
Allen
think that
concert.
way. I hope you go a shit-free life. Well, let's do a shout out to Joplin Jane because
Yes,
she's the one that tied us up together. She either really likes you or really dislikes you, one or the other.
I don't
She
know.
was
I think she's
she
pretty
was
cool.
on the
She's a pretty
show
cool lady.
and she apparently had a good time. She told me she
Yeah.
loved me, so I don't know. I think she may be my future ex-wife. Well,
Okay.
when I said
There's a
to
little
her
age
about
disparity there, but that's fine. You know.
I said to her, if you know any other comedians, and you're the first person she sent me, so that
Yeah,
speaks
I had just
volumes.
I had just reached out to her. So she had me on her podcast, the Disgruntled podcast.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I did that, and that was a lot of fun. And then I pinged her the other day just to say, hey, what do you think of this joke? And right now it's not shit. My joke isn't, it's not a good joke right now, so I'm not gonna tell it.
Okay.
But her and I were working on a joke
Okay.
together a little bit, and she was giving me some pointers. So
She's an
uh
amazing lady. I just wanted
she
to give a
is.
quick shout out to her. Let's start, Jimmy. When did you first start doing comedy?
I started last year.
Last year.
So so far I've only been doing really open mics. So I did it for a few months, and then I had to take a break, family things and
Okay,
whatnot.
right.
And then this year, I've only done a few shows this year, just open mics and things like that. So that's where I'm
Okay,
at. It's still very much in its infancy.
right.
But I want to go, and this week I'm going to go to do every single show that I can.
Well,
Just get out
right.
there and get my material out there and
Well,
work on it.
there's a question. The next question I usually ask is, was there a catalyst a year ago that caused you to say, I want to do stand-up comedy?
I had told this story to
Okay.
just a group of people out on the street one day, and they were laughing at the story. And they and I was like, man, this more people should hear this story, and more, I maybe I have something to say. So I was just out at a bar one night just telling this story about how, well, I'll tell you the story.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm 43, and in all my years of living, I've gotten into a lot of fights, and there's one thing I know is that I'm really bad at it. So, I suck so bad at fighting.
Why do you keep
So,
fighting?
well, I don't anymore, but about 15, 20 years ago,
Okay.
I was out drinking with some friends one night, and we went out to a punk rock show, and then we got
Okay.
really drunk, and then
Yeah.
we went to the bar, and we closed
Okay.
down the bar, and it was my future wife, my now wife,
Yeah.
then girlfriend, and my two buddies, Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Okay.
We closed down the bar, and we're sloshed. Now we have I had a gigantic red mohawk, look like a rooster. Jacket. I had a jacket that would put Andrew Dice Clays to shame.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
it
All
had
right.
studs and spikes and everything like
All
that.
right.
So we're walking down the street, headed to the car, towards my car, which was a Volkswagen Cabrio. And I don't know if this is important. It was a Volkswagen Cabrio. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they're a little beach
Yeah.
convertible, girly kind of car. We're headed to my car, and across the street there's these jocks. Think of them as three frat boy looking guys that
Yeah.
just got out of the football game.
And I've got a mental image of you and
The
go
big
ahead.
mohawk, punk
Yeah, I
rock,
got it.
steel toe boots,
I'm
spiked,
seeing it. I've got the whole picture.
and these three jocks on the other side, and they say, "Hey, faggots, where's the Marilyn Manson concert?" And I got pissed off because Marilyn Manson is goth and we're
Yeah.
punk rockers, and that's a totally different thing. So they got
Yeah.
that wrong. And number two, he calls me out in front of my girlfriend. What am I gonna do? So
Yeah.
I puff up my thumb and I puff up my chest, do one of these blowfish tactics.
Yeah.
And I storm across the street to him, and I'm like, "What the fuck did you say?" And he's like, "What? Blah 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 blah." And then eventually it ends up into this argument of, "Well, get the fuck off my street. Well, get the fuck out of my city." And we're arguing over territory that neither one of us has claim to. Then he lays this one on me. He says, "Well, just get the fuck in your girlfriend's car and get out of
Oh
here."
no.
And I said, "That's my car, you asshole." And I shove him, and he shoves me back. We end up tumbling around. My two friends start going at his two
Oh
friends.
no.
Now, one thing I forgot to mention, in the apparel that we're all wearing, my wife has a bullet belt on. It looks like a bandolier, but she
Yeah.
wears it as a waistband. They've got me on the ground. They're punching me and punching the other guys. We're all getting beat up. My wife runs up. She's tough as nails. She's got a
Yeah.
big mohawk too. She runs up, hip checks the guy in the head with her bullet belt, knocks him off. He takes her, he picks her up, twirls her around, then he starts going in on her. And she can hold her own though. And she's
Right.
like, "You're hitting the girl and you're hitting the girl." And he realizes what he was doing because all he saw was red. Anyway, they run away. We're all limping and, kissing our wounds and
Yeah.
whatever and limping back to the car. And my wife, she says, "Oh my God, I broke a nail." Now, the here's the punchline. In this fight, I got cut in the eye and it was all red and bleeding and whatnot. But later on that night, I had healed up a little bit, and my wife decided to give me a pity fuck. And we had sex, and then I popped off, and I literally went blind because of the pressure. I literally went blind.
Jesus Christ.
I haven't told that story since I told it the first time, so I've never told it in a stand-up bit, but that's
Yeah.
what I got a bunch of laughs off of that story and a lot of attention, and that's what got me into it, started into it.
Got you started into it. Do
Yeah.
you do predominantly story type, things like that?
No,
You
no, and that's one thing that I really want to get into is
right.
is telling stories. So you could tell by the length of that story,
Yeah.
and there needs to be some trim down and really I've got some laughs in there, but I
Yeah.
need to tailor it up and really dress it up and figure out how to tell stories better. But no, my jokes are I'll make up a lot of really ridiculous stuff.
Go ahead. Go ahead and do a
Here's something.
couple. Go ahead and do a
Sure,
couple of your
sure.
favorite.
So I went into the McDonald's the other day with my wife,
Right.
and we got there right around the time that they stop serving breakfast and they start serving lunch.
Right.
And she got a chicken sandwich and I got an egg McMuffin, and we go on our merry way. And we're eating. She gets through 2 bites of her sandwich, and then after she's full, hands it off to me and says, "Here, you eat it," because apparently I'm her human garbage disposal.
Right.
I take that and I put this together with the egg McMuffin because I am an efficient eater. And I start eating it. And she's like, "Oh my God, that's gross." And I said, "What? What's the problem?" She said, "Well, first off, it looks like you're eating a family with cheese."
And the chicken and the egg. I don't know which one
Yeah.
came
And I don't
first.
understand what the people, like,
Yeah.
I mean, what's so gross about that? I mean, people eat turduckens, all the time. So I think this year
Sure.
for Thanksgiving, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take half a dozen hard boiled eggs, stick them up into a turducken, and just watch everybody freak out.
So, do you plan on doing comedy? Okay, because you
As a,
mentioned the punk rock band.
Mhm.
Um, if you had a choice,
If I had a choice and I got, you know, if I had all the choice in the world, I would love to do comedy because I've done music for like 20 years,
okay,
and it's a totally different experience. It's like I've heard this story where comedians want to be rock and roll stars and rock and roll stars want to be comedians. So I fall in that latter category.
okay.
Um, and it's such a shocking experience difference between the two where you've got a band and a bass that you can stand behind playing a show to
Yeah,
an audience who
versus
are
you.
rowdy and raucous, and then it's just you and a mic stand and a stool next to you,
Yeah.
and all you have to do is succeed or fail on your own, and that's a crazy different experience.
Do you have a favorite experience so far? And then,
In terms
of
of like
course, that being said, at least like maybe your first show or something. What was? Go
oh
ahead and do your favorite first.
my favorite experience for well my favorite experience was when I did my graduation set
Okay.
at on Father's Day. Now the jokes were
You
they
took a
were okay.
class. You took a
I
class.
took a class. I did a
Okay.
I'm
All right.
sorry. Yeah,
Because
I
you
took
mentioned
a class
graduation.
at Helium
People don't
at
know what
Helium
that means. Okay.
yeah, right. Sorry, I took a comedy class at Helium Comedy
Okay.
Store with Chip Chantry.
Okay.
And the graduation set I did there, it was on Father's Day, and I did jokes about how I was a child porn star and my dad was the director in front of my dad and my kid and my entire family.
Yeah.
And they laughed. I probably could have told that joke better, but yeah, I did jokes about that. I did a bunch of really offensive comedy,
Yeah.
what normally people would call just offensive stuff.
Right.
So I'm trying to tailor things back and try to make things a little bit more palatable to the broader public. Like, here's one, and this is true. So I lived with depression all my life, you know,
Right.
true story. And last year I had my very first manic episode, which is actually what another reason what prompted this stand-up comedy. It was a
Right.
manic episode I had.
Yeah.
So I went to the psychiatrist the other day, and I seems that I have graduated from depression, major depressive disorder, to bipolar 2. And I
Okay.
think that that's pretty cool.
Good job. Good
Yeah,
job.
I know, right? So I've got a lot of new mental health goals. So my next mental health goal is to get bipolar 1 by the end of the year.
Okay.
I'm looking to go Kanye level bipolar,
Okay.
you know?
You gotta have goals, man. You gotta have
Yeah,
goals.
yeah. I'm looking to go Kanye level bipolar.
Okay.
So
I don't
with
know if you can
well
ever go
with the
Kanye level.
this new diagnosis comes a bunch of new meds,
Okay.
Now they've got me on antipsychotics. That's pretty cool. And I think that's way cooler than antidepressants because, anybody can just, you can get on an antidepressant, you got to be just sad.
Yeah,
But if you want to
right.
get on an antipsychotic, you've got to actually be insane. So
Okay.
I haven't picked up my new script yet,
Okay.
but
Well, I'm
so
glad. I'm glad.
today's kind of my last day as an unmedicated psycho. So
Okay.
boogie boogie boogie.
Well, I'm glad to have you here. Well, let's get to the least favorite. Did you have a time where, man, you didn't shit your
Yeah.
pants, but it was close?
I didn't shit my pants, but it was when I first got sober last year. I first quit drinking and
Okay.
I did a set without alcohol. Now it wasn't any better or worse, but in my mind,
Yeah.
I actually was able to realize how bad the comedy was that I
Really.
was doing before. I would go up there and just read letters to nobody, or just whatever my random thoughts were in my head. So, and I was like, why isn't anybody laughing at what is the stuff that's in here that I can't necessarily explain because I don't have a drink in me, So
Yeah.
that was my, and I had stopped for a while, and then I just
Okay.
started getting back into it this
Started
year.
getting back into it.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah,
have favorite comedians that you like and that you
yeah.
cool
I
off of?
love, I love Norm Macdonald.
Yeah.
If I
God
had
rest his soul.
yeah, Norm Macdonald is probably my favorite comedian comic,
Did you
and I've
ever
tried
see
to emulate his style a little bit in
did
some
you
way.
ever see his show he did? It was the Norm Macdonald show, and he had
Yeah,
another guy there. I think he had Letterman on. And they had like a
Adam Egan.
refrigerator
Yep.
or a cooler
Yeah,
that
that
or a
so
thing that had
Norm Macdonald has a
sodas in
show.
it, and that
Yep.
was I used to love watching that.
Yeah, that's on Netflix. There
Is it
he had another
okay?
show that was similar called Norm Macdonald Live. It was a podcast. There's
Okay,
clips of it on YouTube, but
yeah, I'd see a
he
lot of stuff on
interviews.
YouTube.
Yeah, yeah. I love Norm Macdonald. Louis C.K. is another
Okay,
favorite of mine. Just his storytelling ability and
right,
the way he can act out a joke,
yeah.
and I think it's great. And then the other guy that's really got my interest nowadays is this guy named William Montgomery.
People have mentioned him. I've heard a couple
He is
people.
hilarious. I got to meet him a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah,
and he is nicest guy in the world, nicest guy you could ever meet, and funny as all hell. He's another reason I got into trying to do stand up because I saw him on Kill Tony, and I was like, man, this guy comes up here and he says this kind of oddball shit, and everybody laughs. I can come up with oddball shit, and you
yeah.
know that's where one of my influencers.
Well, Jimmy, I'm in no position to give you any advice.
But I
But
happily
I'm
take
I'm at
advice.
least going to throw this out there because it was given to me by a comedian, Kathy Ladman.
Okay,
If you're not familiar with Kathy,
not familiar.
she was on the Tonight Show. She
Okay,
was, she's been around, and I'm talking Johnny Carson, way back.
right, right.
She was on Curb Your Enthusiasm, a very well established comedian who I got to talking to on at the time it was Twitter, and her mother had passed, and
Mhm.
she had written something the day or so before and posted it, and then her mother passed, and I obviously, sent my condolences, and we started conversing a little bit.
Mhm.
And I was so flattered that here's this comedy legend and I chatting back and forth. And it got to a point where I, was sending her some of my stuff.
Mhm.
And she said, because I said, I'm really starting to question whether I should keep doing this dark. I
Dark
love,
material.
I love dark, dirty,
Right.
nasty.
Right.
She said, look, just be honest, be true to yourself,
Mhm.
because authentic, I think, and with your punk rock background,
Right.
for you to do squeaky clean humor, I think
Doesn't
that would be a
necessarily work for me.
stretch. I think that would be a stretch. And people, when you try to put on a fake front,
Right.
it'd be like the punk band getting up there and doing Barry Manilow. It's not going to fly. With the punk rock hair. So now again, you're older now. You're 43, so
Yeah.
uh, I think the other part of it is that you can adapt to the crowd. I hear a lot of comedians talk about, especially older comedians that play to a younger crowd.
Right.
They try and dirty it up a little bit versus when you're
Yeah.
playing to an older crowd. Yeah, you got to watch the dead baby jokes.
Yeah. 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 I've found my a couple of comedy safe spaces that I can go to and just let
Yeah,
loose.
yeah.
You said you're from New York. I'll plug this an open mic that's around the Philly area. It's called there's this place called Gojo, Gojjo in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Thursday nights, 7 o'clock open mic. But the cool thing that they do there is you go up, you do 5 minutes, and then you can get another minute of additional feedback from the audience. So they can
Okay.
tell you, and they always do direct, helpful feedback. And so it's just comics for comics, but it's a great place to go and try out brand new stuff and just get a temperature reading on what
Okay.
people think about it. It's a great
It
place.
sounds great. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, now I want to cover just a couple of things here. I know obviously you have Facebook. I saw you have Instagram.
Mhm.
Do you do TikTok?
I've just started to look at what TikTok actually is. I don't know if it's actually going to go away or some shit with China and
Yeah.
all that other they just passed some weird law,
Yeah, I don't do
or
TikTok.
they're trying to pass some weird law to get
Yeah,
rid of
well,
it,
they're
I
not
guess.
good. I mean, I don't know if it'll ever get banned, but I was
Oh,
offered to do TikTok. I don't
okay.
do TikTok because, and again, I'm 60, 61 years old,
Yeah.
kind of old
TikTok
school.
seems to be where it's at. I think
Well, yeah, I mean,
I've only
for not for me,
experimented a little. Oh no, no, yeah, I'm just saying
not for me.
with the younger folk, because it's not for me. I'm not a social media guy anymore. I've
Yeah,
had my fill of social media
yeah.
and living and dying by the like, you know,
Oh,
not a
yeah,
big fan. So I'll post stuff up on there every once in a while,
yeah.
but
Okay.
not a whole lot of TikTok. I'm
And you
gonna try to
mentioned
get
your
started.
band has a YouTube channel. Do you have a
Yeah.
separate comedy?
They're on oh, do I have a
A separate?
Jimmy Marks comedy on YouTube?
Okay.
I've got I might have two or three short little 5 minute clips up
Okay.
there.
Well, I'll make sure to
Um,
put all the
yeah,
links when I air this interview to your Facebook, to your Instagram, to your YouTube. If you have a
awesome.
TikTok, I'll put it. I'm like you though. I have to be honest. I've amassed some amazing numbers, that I never thought I would get. Um, and I used to, my God, I was just, my story's kind of weird as far as when I first started doing it, I got fired for telling jokes. So I started Your Comedy Minute. And at that time, I was just going around and stealing memes and putting them on Facebook. And I created a Your
Yeah,
Comedy Minute page.
yeah.
And I built it up unbelievable numbers.
I
And
saw you had like 10,000
well, no,
subscribers.
this is why, I mean, I can so relate to what you're talking about.
Right.
I built my Facebook, Your Comedy Minute page up. 6 months or so, I had built it up to, I don't know what the number was as far as subscribers
Hmm.
and millions of likes. And I mean, it was
Hmm.
just blowing up.
Wow.
And like that, I posted something they didn't like. And they first, I think they suspended me, or they anyway, long story short, I got kicked off 9 times in 1 year.
Wow.
And finally they had enough of me, and they took my page completely down
Wow.
after all that work.
Yeah.
And then at
What were they
that
getting
point,
pissed off of? Do you
what's that?
mind? What got them
There was
mad?
some memes. It was just one of them I remember was when um we left Afghanistan,
Mhm.
and it was a guy that one of the tanks, and said, "We're calling about your extended warranty on your tank or something." And it would,
Yeah.
it's weird because I find shit funny that other
I do.
people don't.
Oh,
And so
I think.
anyway, long story short, at that point, my sister said, it's your comedy minute, Scotty. It says
Mhm,
your comedy minute with Scotty T, and we
mhm.
haven't seen you. So that at that point, I shifted everything to YouTube.
Right.
And it's kind of the same scenario. I busted my butt. I was doing two a day, or two every 2 hours. I was doing quickies. I'm getting
Yeah.
long-winded to tell you that
No, 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 no.
I don't give a shit about social media either. I just don't.
Right. Right.
I've amassed all, and one last little tidbit. Instagram, which again, I don't give a shit about any of
Right.
them.
I don't either.
I just
Yeah.
go through and I do, like, I do these quickies. I ran out and did a couple this morning. I do one a day, and it's so easy on my phone to click it to YouTube, Instagram, X or Twitter, Facebook, wherever else, Threads now, and I'm done. So Instagram, back in November or whatever, my phone one day started going off. What the fuck?
Right.
Sure enough, one of my jokes went to like 300,000. And I went from like the 100 followers to 3,000 followers.
Overnight kind of.
And
Overnight success.
no, that's why, like you say, you have to take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for kids today because, and you probably seen this, where 50%, I think the number's probably even higher now, more than 50% of kids today
Mm.
want to become, influencers, social media influencers.
Right. Right.
And I got news: 49% of those kids are going to be pretty damn depressed.
Well,
If they're not already.
and I think I think because influencers and social media, in all honesty, I think it's the place where the generation today can go and express art and or creativity and get a
Yeah.
biggest audience. And whether it's a need to be liked and desire, whatever, or if it's like,
Right.
hey, that's a new easy sounding job market, I'm gonna go and
Yeah.
just advertise for shit. It depends on what, like it's the same story when we were kids. Everybody wants to go be a rock star, or everybody
Yeah.
wants to be an actor or a comedian. I think this is just the latest platform to do that.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, because I've been doing this for so long, I can think of one guy that, like, his big thing was smoking pot. And
Yeah, I love smoking pot.
yeah, me too. I make no bones about it. And he would like have videos on YouTube of him cleaning his bong.
Yeah,
And and people would comment, your bathtub now sucks. You got to scrub your bathtub out, asshole.
dude.
And I finally, like, I friended him. I had him on the show once, and then he wanted to do something with his grandmother. And I said, look, bud, you will sell your soul
Mhm.
for views, and you may make an ass out of your grandmother, but I'm not going to be part of it.
You're,
You
I get it. Here's something crazy about YouTube and about society these days. Uh, the amount of shit that you can put on YouTube that people will watch,
Yeah.
myself included. Here's
Yeah.
here's the I watched. I was flipping through, and there was a video of a guy mowing his lawn, and it was in high speed. It's one of those satisfying video things. It's in
Yeah.
high speed, and I watched this guy mow his lawn, and god damn it, it is fucking
You
just kind of
enjoyed
like,
it.
yeah. But for 3 hours,
Not three
like,
hours.
no, no, no. My wife right now, as we speak,
Just
is
watching a
on
mowing
a
video.
binge, not a mowing video, a drain cleaning video. Where they look, you can do any fucking task you want to do. You could
Yeah.
jerk off practice. Well, maybe you can't
Well,
jerk off on camera or whatever, but like
jerk off.
not on YouTube, but on Pornhub you can. But anyway, but
There's
as long as you do it
OnlyFans.
at
There's OnlyFans for that.
as long as you do it at high speed, people will watch. Like if you just put a camera in fast motion, you can paint a fucking wall. So
Yeah.
here's what I want to do. I want to make a thing called like unsatisfying videos where like I go and paint a wall and I get a camera and I go high speed and then I just like leave one spot unpainted just to piss everybody off and they waste their time watching this thing for like 3.5 minutes.
All right.
So
I'll be sure to tune in. Well, Jimmy, I want to make sure we cover everything because we're running out of time. We got to get to your
yeah.
comedy minute. So if there's anything you want to tell the people, upcoming shows or, just that you're going to be out there and, anything that you want to tell the people, if you want to do another bit or something real
Well,
quick.
I'm going to be doing my week-long open mic tour.
Okay.
All around the Philadelphia area.
Okay.
So that means this coming week I'm gonna hit up all the open mics that I possibly can. So that's what I'm gonna plug. I'm gonna go to
Okay.
We're going to Delaware. We're going to Philadelphia.
Okay. Well,
and that's it.
I got to tell you,
we're going to New Jersey.
We didn't cover that, but I lived in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
For several years. And I believe this, if you can do comedy in Philadelphia, you'll be a success in a lot of places. Philly's a tough town.
Yeah.
I used to manage the Sam Goody and King of Prussia. And I remember, coming from York, and I remember coming home and telling my mom, the people are so mean. People are so mean in Philadelphia.
It's they do call it the hostile city for a reason.
Yeah.
Like there's on the tourist side, it's a city of brotherly love, but on the underground side, it's called we've given it the moniker of hostile city.
You gotta swear. I'll give you this real quick, and this
city
is
of brotherly shove.
The brotherly shove. I'm an Eagles fan. Just to give you an example, and we're going to get to your comedy minute, but this is like the stupid shit.
Mm-hmm.
That I come from York, Pennsylvania, where, if you're at a stop sign or a light or something, go ahead. I came home and I told Mom, I said, they don't do that in Philadelphia. You could sit there for an hour. No one's going to let you out. You have to, my friend used to call it unnecessary honking. You just honk the horn just for no reason and start heading out. Yeah, it's crazy. Well, my friend, it's that time. Let's get to it.
Sure.
It's called Your Comedy Minute. Go ahead, my friend.
Sure. So unfortunately I got laid off the other day. And but the thing is that I work in software engineering for a really big bank. So I was able to negotiate a good salary with ransomware. But because fuck them. Honestly, I mean, if my former employer can get away with screwing taxpayers out of $700 billion for a bailout, I think I should be able to embezzle $500,000 on my last day. That's my personal pension plan.
Okay.
I mean, my boss, my former boss, there's no justice in the office. My former boss, he could park in the handicap spot every day and nobody would ever say shit. But if I walk into his office and crop dust it and leave, I'm the guy that gets written up. I crop dust my boss's office to, that's my contribution to combat ableism. So anyway, now that I'm laid off and living off of your tax dollars, thank you.
Right.
By the way, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Now my life's toughest decisions are whether I should sit down, eat Cheetos, masturbate, and then smoke weed, or should I smoke weed, eat Cheetos, and then masturbate?
Right.
But then again, now that I think about it, there's really no rule that says I can't do all three at once.
Absolutely.
I'd kill two birds with one bone while I watch two girls in one cup.
Okay. All right. I don't know what your wife's
That's my comedy minute.
All right, buddy. I just wonder what your wife's gonna think about your lofty goals.
Don't kink shame. No, it's
I'm not king shaming. She's gonna watch this and go, "That son of a bitch is eating Cheetos and jerking
Oh,
off."
she knows. She knows.
Well,
She's
then
like, what are you
again,
doing?
hey,
Oh, you're
I
just
don't want
sitting
to pick
around
on
eating
your wife, but
Cheetos and
she's
jerking
watching
off
some fucking
again.
drain cleaning videos. So
She watches drain cleaning videos, That's more fun than watching me eating Cheetos and jerking
Cheetos and
off.
jerk off. Oh God.
While I watch lawn mowing videos.
Yeah, you guys are, ooh, the excitement.
Those things are addictive, man.
I, right after this is over, I'm gonna try and find a lawn mowing video. Well,
Get
Jimmy,
out some
listen, man,
Vaseline.
let's make a pact. We'll get back in touch.
Yes, sir.
6 months or so down the road, we'll see how you're making out. Now we'll catch back up and we'll see if
Sounds awesome, man.
if you worked on your first paint video, whether you leave the
Yeah,
spot.
by the time we talk, I'll have all but one spot of that big red wall.
Well, my friend, thank you for being on the show. Hold on a second. I'm going to
Thank you,
stop
sir.
the recording and we'll talk a little bit off the air.
Sounds good, man.
Okay.